喧嘩は思ったよりどうってことなかった。
一人で寂しくないですか？
なんでお前が？
強くなりたくないですか？私と友達になって強くなりましょう。
Viral Hit takes the inspirational underdog formula, feeds it to an algorithm, and asks how many bruises a teenager can monetize before anyone calls it exploitation. The answer is apparently as many as the audience will pay to watch. Kota Shimura sits at the absolute bottom of his school's social order. At the top is Hamakin, a bully with 700,000 followers who has turned cruelty into carefully planned online content. Hamakin's cameraman is Kanagon, a wealthy classmate with expensive equipment and no objection to using Kota as a human prop. During one live stream, they paint Kota's face white and parade him in front of the audience for laughs. His dignity is crushed, but he knows that resisting will only make the beating worse. Even when Hamakin promised him 1,000 yen for appearing, asking for the money earns Kota nothing but punches. He swallows the humiliation and stays quiet. Kota has a reason for enduring it. His mother, Miyuki, is seriously ill and living in a hospital. The medical costs are draining their single-parent household, so Kota spends every hour after school working at a diner. One day, a beautiful new waitress named Kahoa Samiya joins the staff. Kota is instantly smitten, though he can barely look at her without freezing. His brief happiness disappears when Hamakin and Kanagon arrive with a live stream challenge. They demand that the staff make a giant monster meal in 30 seconds, and Hamakin declares that if they fail, Kaho must give him her phone number. Kaho never agrees, but Hamakin starts counting anyway. With the manager away and everyone panicking, Kota quietly prepares the meal, places it on the table, and retreats before Hamakin can turn him into the next part of the show. The challenge is completed, forcing Hamakin's crew to leave empty-handed. Kota thinks he escaped notice. Instead, Hamakin corners him by the trash area after work and beats him for interfering. Kaho comes looking for Kota, which finally makes Hamakin stop. Kota is too ashamed to admit what is happening and pretends the bully is only a friend. Kanagon creates another problem that night. Because he is underage and cannot properly receive live stream revenue, he has shamelessly registered an account using Miyuki's identity and bank information. He sets up his equipment inside Kota's tiny home while Kota prepares dinner for him. Still angry and distracted, Kota trips over a cable while carrying ramen. The hot broth spills over Kanagon, and the computer screen goes black. Kanagon assumes Kota destroyed his equipment and attacks him, demanding compensation. This time, Kota finally snaps. The two weak, inexperienced teenagers wrestle through the cramped room until Kota manages to drive Kanagon out. Afterward, Kota finds a hospital bill for more than 3 million yen. For a boy who counts every coin, the amount might as well be impossible. Yet letting Miyuki abandon treatment is not an option. Then Kanagon calls with shocking news. The screen went dark during their fight, but the live stream never stopped. More than 130,000 people watched their ridiculous brawl in real time. Some viewers laughed, others mocked them, but thousands were fascinated by two hopeless fighters genuinely trying to hurt each other. Kota panics and deletes the recording. By the next morning, copies are everywhere. At school, Kota tries to become invisible, but Hamakin already knows what happened. Kanagon expects punishment too, only for Hamakin to kick him out of the group first. Kanagon has gone from accomplice to disposable content. Hamakin stages a fake computer giveaway for his followers. Kanagon secretly gives Kota the inside details, and Kota walks into the performance to expose the fraud. He even mentions the clothing Hamakin had promised as part of the scam, silencing the room. Only then does Kota realize the official live stream has been switched off. Hamakin can now beat him without an audience. What Hamakin does not know is that Kanagon is recording everything from another angle. The two boys planned this revenge together. Kota originally refused, but the possibility of earning money changed his mind. Hamakin pounds him in front of the other students, yet Kota keeps struggling back to his feet. When he has the nerve to ask for the unpaid 1,000 yen again, Hamakin raises his fist for another blow. A single voice stops him. Tatsuya Ugi, a student from another class and a rising mixed martial arts star, steps in. Hamakin fears him enough to back away. When Kota regains consciousness, he learns who saved him. Tatsuya is already considered above the school's petty hierarchy because he has real skill and a future in professional fighting. Kota has a more immediate concern. Kanagon promised him 10,000 yen for taking the beating, but the short video did not earn enough. After expenses, Kota receives only 3,900 yen. He is furious. He risked his life for an amount that barely touches Miyuki's bill. Kanagon sees him preparing to quit and starts selling a much bigger dream. Successful fighting channels can make hundreds of millions of yen. Pain is temporary, but an audience could pay for Miyuki's treatment. Kota reluctantly agrees. Since he has no chance of becoming an expert overnight, his first goal is simply learning how to stay conscious long enough for a profitable video. At home, he searches for beginner fighting advice and finds an obscure channel with almost no views. Its host wears a chicken mask and calls himself Tokei. The masked instructor claims he can teach a complete amateur how to fight, but the lesson ends before Kota receives a useful answer. Kota goes to sleep feeling cheated. In a bizarre dream, Tokei appears beside his bed and continues lecturing him. Kota screams, throws a pillow at the chicken mask, and wakes unsure whether any of it was real. The next day, Hamakin's reputation is collapsing. Kanagon's secret footage has exposed him as a violent bully, and viewers are abandoning his streams. He takes his rage out on Kota and Kanagon, throwing Kota down the stairs and attacking anyone who tries to document it. Kanagon threatens to keep filming and gets beaten too. Even half-conscious, Kota forces himself upright because every second of footage might earn money. Tokei's lesson flashes through his mind. The first way to survive is to make an angry opponent predictable. Kota openly taunts Hamakin, who charges exactly as expected. Kota avoids the first punch and then another. For the next attack, he moves toward the fist instead of away from it, letting the hardest part of his forehead absorb the impact. The trick hurts far less than taking the punch cleanly in the face. But Kota made one disastrous mistake. He watched only the beginning of the lesson. Once Hamakin realizes the first tricks are not enough, Kota has no idea what comes next. Hamakin kicks Kota down and prepares to resume the beating. Then a girl in a yellow jacket steps between them and claims the whole attack is being broadcast live. Hamakin cares more about his image than anything else, so he backs off. Once he leaves, the girl admits she was bluffing. There was no live stream at all. Her name is Aki Yashio. After learning that Kota and Kanagon made 25,000 yen from the footage, Aki understands their strange business immediately. She offers to edit their videos, improve the presentation, and help build an audience. She also gives the channel its name, Viral Hit. Kota begins balancing diner shifts with Tokei's training. When the manager discusses scheduling, Kaho suggests creating a work group chat. Kota finally gets her contact information and celebrates as though they are already dating. Kanagon is far less impressed by his daydreaming. Then a man and woman approach the boys and introduce themselves as fans. Away from the crowd, the pair rob Kota and Kanagon. After taking their money, the man reaches for Kota's phone as well. Kota wants the police, but Kanagon quietly reveals that he started streaming as soon as the ambush began. More than 10,000 viewers are watching, and the donations are climbing. Kanagon refuses to waste a profitable crisis. Driven by equal parts terror and desperation, Kota runs after the thieves. When they discover the confrontation is live, they do not feel embarrassed. They boast to the camera and openly challenge him. Kota trembles while trying to remember Tokei's lessons. He provokes the man into attacking first, reads the obvious swing, and dodges it. Then he keeps moving from side to side, repeatedly forcing the robber to miss. Every successful escape builds Kota's confidence. When the man finally corners him and throws everything into one punch, Kota steps forward and uses the impact-absorbing trick again. The robber injures his own wrist and can no longer continue. He returns the phone. Kanagon nearly jumps with excitement. Aki has watched the entire stream and immediately turns the fight into a polished video. With the three of them working together, the channel earns more than 100,000 yen. The money creates their next argument. Kanagon tries to claim 90%, even though Kota is the one taking every punch. Kota gives him a blunt choice: accept the smaller share or become the fighter himself. After some aggressive negotiation, Kota keeps the larger portion. Success also brings him a romantic opportunity. Kaho invites Kota to a thank you meal. He wants to pay, but the menu terrifies him. One serving of ice cream costs almost a full week of food, and even the cheapest coffee would consume several days of his budget. Kanagon and Aki are secretly watching from nearby. Kanagon treats the date like more potential content, while Aki grows visibly irritated. When strangers mock Kota for looking poor, Aki deliberately bumps into them and spoils their meal. Kanagon assumes his own behavior upset her and follows Aki outside to apologize. Back at the table, the mood has become painfully awkward. Kaho gets up to pay and leave, but Kota finally stops hiding. He admits this is his first real date and his first time inside such an expensive place. He has no idea what to order or what he is supposed to say. Kaho does not laugh. She suggests they forget the restaurant and simply take a walk. The evening improves until Kaho receives a call from Tatsuya. The MMA prospect is her childhood friend, and he soon joins them. Tatsuya recognizes Kota's unusual defensive tricks and even knows the technique for absorbing a punch. Kota immediately wonders whether Tatsuya might be Tokei. Meanwhile, Kanagon has resumed secretly filming because the appearance of a romantic rival makes the stream more entertaining. Kaho and Tatsuya look completely natural together. Kota trails behind them like an unwanted extra and decides he has no chance. He invents an excuse and leaves. Kanagon catches him and angrily asks what happened to the boy who kept getting up while Hamakin beat him. A strong rival is not a reason to surrender before even trying. Kota realizes Kanagon is right, hugs him in gratitude, and races back toward Kaho. Tatsuya has already returned to training, leaving Kota alone with her. Kota finally asks what kind of man she likes. After a surprised pause, Kaho says she likes someone strong. Before Kota can respond, Kanagon rolls out of the bushes with his face badly bruised. Kota assumes he was still filming, but then sees Hamakin approaching. The disgraced bully has tracked them down and wants revenge. Seeing Kaho only makes Hamakin angrier. She rejected him at the diner, yet she is spending time with Kota. Kota cannot stand by while Hamakin threatens her, so he uses 2K's first strategy and provokes Hamakin into focusing on him. At first, Kota's training works. He moves away from several heavy punches and tries the painless impact trick. Hamakin fakes one attack and lands a left hook instead. Kota has exhausted his small collection of techniques, and Hamakin drives him into the ground. Kaho cannot keep watching. She steps forward and slaps Hamakin. Humiliated, he turns his rage toward her. Kota drops to his knees and begs Hamakin to leave Kaho alone. Hamakin has already forced Kanagon to film the encounter, and now he orders Kota to humiliate himself for the audience. Kota knows fighting back will only put Kaho in greater danger. He removes his outer clothes one piece at a time. Hamakin laughs while Kota sacrifices what remains of his dignity. Then Kota makes one desperate calculation. If the stream shows explicit content, the platform will ban Hamakin's account. Kota prepares to destroy both his own reputation and Hamakin's channel at once. Before he can go through with it, a hand pulls his clothing back into place. Tatsuya has returned. Tatsuya defeats Hamakin's followers within seconds. Even Hamakin does not dare challenge a genuine fighter, and the crisis ends as quickly as it began. Tatsuya escorts Kaho away. Kota remains in the rain, nearly unclothed and kneeling like a defeated animal. He could not protect the person he loves, and the entire humiliation was streamed online. Hamakin can upload the replay, which means every stranger Kota passes might recognize him as the boy who begged for mercy. The shame breaks him. Kota stops going to school and disappears from the diner. He ignores messages from Aki, Kanagon, and Kaho. His absence does not protect anyone. Girls at school begin targeting Aki because she sided with him. Coworkers at the diner make jokes about Kota while Kaho quietly worries. Kanagon suffers most of all, because Hamakin needs a new victim and has decided Kota's former partner will do. With Kota gone, Hamakin attacks Kanagon more viciously every day. He demands that Kanagon bring Kota back and threatens to beat him to death if he fails. Kanagon goes to the hospital, hoping Kota might visit Miyuki. The frail woman recognizes his name immediately and welcomes him with a smile. Kota has spoken about Kanagon so often that Miyuki believes he is her son's closest friend. Kanagon is overwhelmed with shame. He has spent years using Kota and recently denied their friendship just to protect himself. Kota, meanwhile, has been telling his mother that Kanagon is the one person he can trust. Kota has reached a far darker place. Convinced that everyone would be better off without him, he stands on a rooftop and considers ending his life. Aki finds him and tries to talk him down. When Kota refuses to listen, she suddenly jumps over the edge herself. Kota lunges forward in horror, only to discover another platform less than 6 feet below. Aki lands safely and dryly tells him that if he truly wants to die, he should at least choose a more convincing location. The absurd stunt breaks through his despair. More importantly, Kota realizes his disappearance would hurt people who genuinely care about him. Aki's concern gives him enough strength to step away from the edge. The next day, Kanagon returns to school without Kota and receives an even worse beating. Hamakin forces his bruised former follower to beg for help in front of a camera. Kanagon remembers Miyuki's smile and every strange moment he shared with Kota. Then the classroom door opens. Kota has decided that living means facing the failure he tried to escape. During his absence, he studied another 2K lesson and trained for a specific rematch. He has come back to save his friend. Hamakin attacks with confidence. Kota's new technique initially looks useless because he repeatedly kicks the same part of Hamakin's lower leg without doing visible damage. Hamakin laughs and keeps swinging. Kota does not stop. Every kick weakens the calf a little more. Eventually, Hamakin tries to step forward. His damaged ankle folds, and his entire stance collapses. Kota seizes the opening and lands the punch that finally drops him. Kanagon records the comeback live. Viewers flood the channel with support, and a single stream produces more than 1 million yen in donations. Hamakin is so humiliated that he stops attending school. The school's treatment of Kota changes almost overnight. Students who ignored him now crowd around him like a celebrity. Kaho does not mock him for the disastrous encounter in the rain. Instead, she invites him to go out again. Kanagon should be celebrating, but success has made him feel invisible. Kota receives the praise, and even Aki seems more focused on the fighter than the cameraman who helped build the channel. At his lowest moment, an influencer named Rumi approaches him. She invites him to a bar and surrounds him with attractive girls who flatter him and keep filling his glass. Drunk and desperate to impress them, Kanagon opens the viral hit account on his phone. He never notices Rumi recording the username and password from behind him. Rumi has joined an influencer agency run by AG Kimishima. Once the agency receives Kanagon's recording, it changes the viral hit password. Then, two men ambush Kota at night and smash him down with a bottle. When the team discovers they cannot access the channel, they reconstruct the attack. Rumi's page displays the agency's logo, and the same two attackers appear among its signed creators. The motive is simple. Kimishima's company built its power through Bad Fellows, a leading combat channel. Viewers have started calling those older videos staged and praising Viral Hit for showing real danger. Kota's rapid rise threatens the agency's most profitable territory, so it wants to erase the competition before it grows any larger. Kota, Aki, and Kanagon decide to recover their account directly. Kota studies 2K's lesson on facing multiple attackers. The first instruction is to bluff so convincingly that the opponents hesitate. Kota arrives dressed like a hardened delinquent. The two men are briefly intimidated until he steps badly, twists his ankle, and exposes the ridiculous stack of height-boosting insoles inside his shoe. They strip away the disguise and realize the frightening challenger is still the same awkward teenager. The beating begins immediately. Kota cannot fight two people at once, so he runs through the shopping complex and uses its narrow passages to separate them. Once they are isolated, he needs to face only one attacker at a time. Two precise kicks to the lower legs leave both men limping and unable to continue. With the advantage gone, they surrender the new password. The victory drives Viral Hit's numbers even higher, but it also attracts a much more dangerous opponent. Kota buys new clothes for a spring date with Kaho. Beneath the cherry blossoms, he tries to confess his feelings and loses his nerve at the final second. Then Kanagon calls in a panic. Ryo Shinjo, a former Taekwondo champion with a terrifying reputation, has challenged Viral Hit. Rumor says Ryo once killed someone. Aki refuses the match because Kota is still an amateur. The fight would create enormous traffic, but no number of views matters if Ryo leaves him dead. Ryo does not accept the refusal. He grabs Kanagon and beats him savagely, forcing Kota to intervene. Kota is defeated in less than 10 seconds. To keep his friend alive, he agrees to Ryo's demand for a match with the channel at stake. At the hospital, Kanagon insists Kota must not surrender. Even after being beaten into a bed, he considers losing their shared dream worse than the pain itself. Kota admires his courage but knows that determination alone cannot defeat a trained champion. He asks Tatsuya for advice. Tatsuya explains that Taekwondo depends heavily on kicks. If Ryo cannot plant his feet and use his legs, much of his advantage disappears. Take's next lesson offers the same principle. Kota chooses the location carefully. He lures Ryo into a tiled restroom with water covering the floor, then arrives wearing waterproof, non-slip shoes. Ryo cannot establish a stable stance, while Kota moves across the wet surface with ease. For a moment, Kota believes he has solved the fight. Then Ryo proves that his fists are dangerous too. Kota waits for Ryo to move close, tackles him, and locks an arm around his neck. Ryo kicks free and tears away one of Kota's special shoes. With a stable foothold of his own, the former champion regains his full power. Kota turns to escape. Ryo launches a kick and knocks him unconscious. Ryo looks down at the unconscious Kota and prepares to continue. His reputation says he has already caused one death, and one more kick could leave Kota permanently disabled. Kanagon panics and reaches for his phone to call the police. Ryo knocks it away. The rumors hide a more complicated past. Ryo was not always cruel. A close friend of his suffered relentless bullying, and Ryo repeatedly stepped in to defend him. When that friend later died, Ryo's grief twisted into rage. He began challenging other combat streamers and attacking their closest friends whenever they refused. If he won, he took their accounts. Ryo was not simply collecting channels. He was testing whether anyone else would protect a friendship the way he once tried to protect his own. Kanagon is now willing to confront Ryo for Kota's sake. That reaction reveals the wound Ryo has been hiding. Kota regains consciousness and tells Ryo exactly what he sees. Ryo attacks other people's friends because their loyalty reminds him of what he lost. The accusation lands harder than a punch and sends Ryo into a frenzy. Kota is knocked down again, but he continues getting up. When Ryo launches another kick, Kota grabs the doorframe and lifts himself out of its path. He finally gets close enough to trap Ryo in a chokehold. Ryo struggles until he can no longer continue. Kota wins. The victory brings another explosion of followers and donations. Ryo leaves with one final threat, but Kota and Kanagon have protected both their friendship and their channel. Elsewhere, Rumi's influencer career has stalled at 70,000 followers. She asks Kimishima for help breaking through the plateau, and he finally shows her what his agency expects in return. Kimishima orders Rumi to entertain the company's sponsors privately. She hates the demand, but the agency has made it easy to enter and nearly impossible to leave. Under pressure, she chooses what appears to be the least dangerous name on the sponsor list. That man is Yutaka Asamiya, Kaho's father and the director of Miyuki's hospital. In public, Yutaka presents himself as a respected medical professional. Behind that image, he is willing to exploit a vulnerable young influencer introduced through Kimishima's network. The agency and its larger Badfellows organization make money through this kind of hidden coercion as easily as they profit from online violence. Then Yugo Kuwata, the man at the top of Badfellows, invites the viral hit team to discuss a partnership. Kanagon remains suspicious, but the possibility of collaborating with a major combat brand is too tempting to ignore. Kota, Aki, and Kanagon attend together. Kuwata quickly reveals that he does not want a collaboration. He wants to buy their channel. The teenagers refuse to sell the work they built through so much pain. Their confidence turns into mockery, and they tell Kuwata that Badfellows is already becoming old news. The retaliation is immediate. Viral Hit is suspended by the platform. Kuwata's people release footage of the underage Kanagon drinking with Rumi at the bar, then flood the internet with claims that the team glorifies violence and corrupts young viewers. The online mob digs through Kota's private life and misidentifies Kaho as his girlfriend. Her name, family, and address are exposed, and strangers begin harassing her as well. Yutaka discovers that his daughter has been seeing Kota. He considers a poor fighting streamer beneath their family and orders Kaho to end all contact. Kaho reluctantly agrees, but only if her father waives Miyuki's medical fees. Yutaka takes the channel information to Miyuki and tells her exactly how Kota has been making money. Miyuki is shocked and deeply hurt, yet she refuses to criticize her son in front of a wealthy stranger. She also refuses to let Yutaka decide whom Kota may speak to. Even as his mother, she says, she does not own his life. Rumi reaches her assigned meeting and finally runs away before anything happens. Kimishima bombards her with demands to return. When she threatens to contact the police, he produces an intimate recording and warns that he can destroy her reputation whenever he chooses. Kota visits Miyuki and realizes she now knows the truth. He expects anger. Instead, she tells him that seeing people support him makes her proud. She does not want her son fighting, but she is relieved that he is no longer facing the world completely alone. Her faith gives Kota a new purpose. He challenges Kuwata directly. The proposed match will be streamed from both sides. Viewers can donate to either fighter, turning the confrontation into both a physical contest and a public battle for support. Viral Hit's original account is frozen, but the team can still broadcast through another profile. Aki believes Kota cannot defeat a professional underground fighter. Without telling the others, she blocks Kawada's car, kneels in front of him, and begs him to cancel. Kawada rejects her and orders his men to remove her. Aki rises from the ground and prepares to defend herself. At the same time, Kaho visits Kota's home after avoiding him for days. She knows he began fighting to pay Miyuki's bills. If Kota accepts Yutaka's offer, the debt disappears and he no longer needs to risk his life. But fighting is no longer only a desperate source of money for Kota. Every time he stood up, someone else found the courage to resist. He refuses to surrender that meaning simply because an easier financial arrangement has appeared. Kaho understands that she cannot change his decision. Instead, she shows him a chicken pendant she once found. A web address on it led to 2K's hidden training videos. When Kaho saw Kota being bullied at the diner, she secretly sent him the link because she believed he needed it. Now, every available 2K lesson has been uploaded. There will be no new video explaining how to defeat Kawada. The pendant also brings back Kaho's childhood. Years ago, other children threw away a keepsake she treasured, and young Kota entered the water to recover it. He has forgotten the encounter, but Kaho never did. When she later recognized him at her father's hospital, she took the diner job partly so she could see him again. What Kota thought was love at first sight was actually a reunion. Kaho had been carrying feelings for him long before he noticed her. Rumi also decides that running is not enough. She prepares to expose Kimishima. He warns that Kawada's organization can make her disappear, and claims that the death connected to Rio was not an accident. It began with an order from Kawada. Kota goes to Tatsuya's gym and asks for help. Tatsuya refuses. Every earlier Viral Hit match took place somewhere Kota could manipulate. Against Kawada, he will enter a regulated ring and face a former professional under fair rules. Tatsuya sees no realistic way for a beginner to win. Even that brutally honest answer does not make Kota quit. As he crouches in despair, Tatsuya's coach, Logan, stops him from leaving and offers a different perspective. Then Aki calls. She tells Kota to bring Logan to her home immediately. There, the mystery behind the chicken mask is finally solved. Logan is not 2K. Aki's father, Motoharu Yashio, created the videos, and Logan once trained under him. The chicken pendant Kaho found belongs to Aki. Motoharu originally recorded the unusual lessons for his daughter. Aki knew how to fight, but discipline and fear kept her from using that knowledge against the girls who bullied her. She spent years imagining that someone else might stand up and resist. Kota became that person. His clumsy refusal to stay down showed Aki that fighting back requires more than technique. It requires the courage to accept what may happen next. His channel gave that courage to her and to countless viewers who felt powerless. Now Aki asks Motoharu to return the favor. He agrees to train Kota in person for the match against Kawada. Kota throws himself into the final training camp while continuing to visit Miyuki. His mother does not ask him to stop. She is proud that the frightened boy she raised has become strong enough to choose his own path. Miyuki knows her condition is worsening. She tells Kota that even if she dies, she believes he can continue living. Kota rejects that goodbye, and mother and son make a promise. Both of them will fight to stay alive. The hospital offers one remaining hope. A special treatment has a strong chance of helping Miyuki, but it costs 10 million yen. Viral Hit's previous earnings remain trapped inside the suspended account, leaving Kota unable to use the money he already made. The final live stream must raise 10 million yen by itself. Kaho returns home and faces another attack from her father. Yutaka describes Kota as worthless and insists that his daughter has embarrassed the family. Kaho is hurt, but years of obedience make it difficult for her to answer. Meanwhile, Aki tells Kota exactly how she feels about him. Her confession leaves him overwhelmed. He once believed the entire world saw him as disposable. Now his resistance has inspired people who are willing to stand beside him. The day of the match arrives. Online hatred still surrounds Kota, and when the livestream begins, almost no one supports him. Kawada dominates immediately. The donations on Kota's side remain painfully low. Kanagon knows the audience still does not understand what the fight means. He reaches Kaho and convinces her to tell them. Kaho starts her own live stream and publicly identifies herself as Kota's girlfriend. She addresses the people condemning him for making money through violence. Violence is wrong, she says. But Kota did not start throwing punches because he enjoyed hurting others. He learned to fight because violence was already being used against him and everyone he cared about. Kaho admits that she carries part of the blame for her own helplessness. She obeyed her father for so long that she stopped believing resistance was possible. Kota's fists were never only an attack. To her, they became proof that an ordinary person could defend something important. Her words reached thousands of viewers who recognized the same fear in themselves. Yutaka storms in and tries to end the broadcast. This time, Kaho openly defies him. She finishes what she needs to say, leaves the house, and races toward the arena. Rumi launches her own counterattack at the same time. She releases recordings of Kimishima's threats and exposes how the agency coerces young influencers for sponsors. The scandal spreads instantly, destroying the respectable image Bad Fellows built around itself. Kimishima stares in disbelief as Rumi pours a drink over his head. It is her first public act of resistance. Both broadcasts were coordinated by Kanagon. The cameraman who once used humiliation for profit is now using the same online machinery to reveal the truth. Kaho's testimony and Rumi's evidence reverse the mood of the final stream. Donations begin arriving on Kota's side, followed by messages from viewers urging him to stand again. Inside the ring, Kota knows ordinary boxing cannot defeat Kawada. Motoharu warned him that a clean technical contest belongs to the professional. Kota's only possible chance comes from turning the match into the kind of unrestricted struggle that made Viral Hit famous. When Kawada moves close, Kota abandons polished technique. He clings to him, bites to create an opening, drives forward with his head, and follows with a desperate elbow strike. The ugly combination drops Kawada, but the tactics violate the match rules. The referee disqualifies Kota and declares Kawada the official winner. The audience has seen something different. Kawada is the trained champion lying on the floor, while the bullied teenager is still standing after refusing to accept the role written for him. The entire arena begins chanting Kota's name. Kota does not care about the official result. He cares about only one thing: whether the livestream has raised enough money to give his mother another chance at treatment. That's all for today's drama recap. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, comment, and share. I'll see you in the next one.